Alright, here we go, episode 200. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really plan to make a review about Ruby vs. Maka, but fuck it, I want to talk about this. But I will say this though, there are different bookmarks in this video. If you want to hear my review first and then onto the question, is Ruby vs. Maka better than Joker vs. Giorno, then sure, go on ahead. But if you just want to skip to the question, then yeah, just click the bookmark. So, Ruby vs. Maka, I was really excited for ever since the announcement trailer came out after Hulk vs. Godzilla. Which, I don't know if I'll ever talk about again, but 8 out of 10. It surprised me for how good it was. Anyway, that's not the main focus of this video. Much like Joker vs. Giorno, this was worth the 1 month wait for sure. Oh yeah, let me mention this extremely quickly. Apparently somebody by the name of Monty actually suggested this many years ago, and now's the time where the fight actually came out. I did hear from Biff Weed's video that unfortunately he did pass away in 2015. If he were still alive, he would have been very proud to see this matchup. I could relate. Also, the thank you Monty card was actually really nice. I like what you did there. Anyway, let's get on with the fight. So like I've done 2 other times, I'm gonna go scene by scene and show you how much I love this. And, well, I mean, why not? I did say I would review this. And no, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the analysis. I never really talk about it. The ending analysis, though, was good. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So the fight starts things off with Maka and Soul looking for someone who looks similar to Ruby, but the drawing is actually funny. I did mention this on, well, my pre-recorded stream that it looks like if Ruby had a Shy Guy mask on. You know what, let me get this out of the way. I tried to get a few people from my Discord server, well, my Death Battle themed Discord server, but only Mike was able to hop on, and I thank him very much for it. It was actually a lot of fun to check this out with him. Anyway, and Ruby coincidentally shows up. Then the fight already starts off with Soul turning into the Scythe. The little dialogue that Ruby gives as well is actually kind of funny, not gonna lie, but it's sweet too to see that at the same time. And then a short time later, Ruby actually gets her Scythe Crescent Rose out, and it has a nice transformation to it. And then the two of them collide with some good action, and including a spin move that Ruby does for a short second. Then there's some more action, and I will say though, the rose petals for the entire fight look glorious. I don't know, I mean, they just fit extremely well, and for the 200th episode, it feels like someone is just putting flower petals all over the video. It fits. Well, rose petals, but you get the idea. Then at one point, Ruby dodges an attack and then makes a tornado, which looks really cool. And I guess I'll say this, because why not? It feels great to have, I think that's Ruby's official voice from the series. I'm not sure though, by the way, it's fantastic to hear. And Maka's voice is also quite good too. And I say that because, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit ahead of myself, but I'll bring this up later. The lines deliveries for the attacks that they'll actually mention later are really memorable, like Joker vs. Giorno on how every single attack they say is memorable. And I say that because once Maka is actually attacking the tornado for a few moments, she actually says Soul Resonance alongside Soul, and we get a really good transformation of her Scythe, which looks great. Once Ruby actually gets hit, she apparently hits twice on the water and then dodges, which is something Biff isn't really a fan of, and I could kind of understand that, but it seems kind of neat though. It's what Ruby would usually do in a scenario like this when she does get hit. Because, you know, the both of them are extremely fast. And then when Maka's in the air and tries to actually hit Ruby, she actually gets above her in the air and then spins down, and I'll talk about Death and Bloom later, because it plays at a great time. While Maka did actually get hit and land on the ground, it didn't exactly do too much towards her. When Ruby was coming in close, Maka got out of the way and reeled Ruby in with her Scythe, and the still frame here kinda caught me off guard, but it still looks really cool. And then the stop hitting me thing that Ruby actually says while Maka just punches her. It's just funny, but at the same time, I just want to say, Maka isn't gonna stop Ruby. I would do something if I were you. Then when Ruby folds up Crescent Rose just a little bit so that we could get the gun part, it just looks great right here as she open fires on Maka while standing right there. Even though Maka misses and Ruby jumps onto a building, which also looks really cool. Then the both of them actually go to the rooftops, and then the next chase part is actually well done. Maka just chasing after Ruby while Ruby constantly shoots at her until Soul actually taps into the piano thing. I'm sorry, I don't remember what it's called. I mean, I know it's Adagio, but isn't that just the move for Soul Adagio 1 point? I'll get to it. Anyway, then this next part is just wow. Soul then slams his hands down onto the piano, making Maka transform. And then when the two of them collide, we get another nice line delivery from Maka. Right after we see how Ruby's Soul actually has a barrier, Soul just gives off the best line delivery in the whole episode. Relax, as he starts playing the piano. And then for the next bit, it's just breathtaking to see the two of them strike one after the other while Soul just constantly plays the piano. And then we have Ruby's line right after she says she's not going to stop fighting. And I will say, it's just phenomenal. It's right up there when Joker said Sentinaya when he actually made a comeback in the Joker vs. Giorno episode. And then we get Soul Adagio, which makes Ruby, I guess, temporarily pass out or something. Then when she hears, I think it's Yang just saying her name, she opens her eyes, and then we get the Silver Eyes with this next really good scene for the climax. Except Maka's outlines, everything here is just white. And Soul giving Maka confidence here was actually nice of him to see. Well, here, but you get the idea. And then she delivers the kill as Ruby gets split in half and then bursted into rose petals as her scythe drops onto the building. And then we get the two of them approaching towards Ruby's soul, and I don't think anybody has actually mentioned this, but is it me, or why does it feel like Maka has somewhat of a wedding dress on for a special occasion like this? I don't know, it just feels special like that to me. Dare I say, almost magical. Okay, anyway, now for the final part. Maka just gently holds Ruby's soul while she just says, a simple, honest soul. Ruby Rose, huh? And then we get this beautiful shot right here of Crescent Rose in front of the moon, and then, well, the moon from Soul Eater just basically chuckling, I guess. While the rose petals just go in random directions. I'm not even kidding with you, you could legitimately just loop this and make this either a GIF or a really good desktop background. Like I mentioned, again, the voice acting here is just really damn good. And now's the perfect time to talk about Death in Bloom. I'm gonna be 100% honest here, I didn't expect it to be called this, but I'm just saying Crescent Soul would be the perfect name for this track, because Crescent Rose, instead of Rose, it would just be Soul, because it would be a reference to the title of Soul Eater. I don't know, it just fits. And I love both versions. Even though I prefer the Adagio version just slightly more because it's just really good to hear those extra piano keys, I don't know, it just feels great. Also, I want to mention, I have nothing to complain about with this episode. I have nothing bad or even remotely negative in the slightest that would just make me feel a bit odd, I guess, in some scenes, if that's the way to put it. But yeah, this is a gorgeous episode that I love very, very much. Okay, so here's the part where I actually answer the question. Is Ruby vs. Maka better than Joker vs. Giorno and Giovanna? I really don't want to say no, but at the same time, I just want to say yes. Kind of. I'll talk about this. Also, I won't talk about Joker vs. Giorno, the match itself. I already made a separate review for it, so I guess if you want to check it out, then go on ahead. You know what? Link in the description. Why not? I'm not going to have anything in the description anyway. Because that fight had two characters I was extremely interested in and I was actually very excited for. While I was mostly excited for Ruby this time around, Maka was still cool to actually see, despite me already being content with Corona vs. Venom, believe it or not. But just to name off, I guess, a few similarities, Joker vs. Giorno and Ruby vs. Maka both had 10 out of 10 tracks. They both had excellent voice actors and really good one-liners that are just so damn memorable. Although despite Joker vs. Giorno being out for nearly a whole year and this only being out for, as I'm recording this, just 8 days, around a week, and I'm already tempted to see if this will actually be better than Joker vs. Giorno. But let me say this, I'm tempted, and I'm not kidding, to put both of them as my favorite episode of Season 11, or 2025. I don't know, I just feel like ranking both last year and this year as one season, but anyway. Yeah, I'm serious when I say that. They're both just too good where I don't feel comfortable putting one higher or lower. But I'm not sure just yet. For now, I'm going to think about this, and I'm going to see if this will be better than Joker vs. Giorno. But if not, then I don't know, maybe I'll break my rules and just put both of them in one entry. I did it for 1 Minute Melee, but then again, no, it was actually because I didn't know which one was better or which one was worse. Wait a minute, that's the exact same thing going on here, never mind. Also, again, this one's just extra special because unlike Joker vs. Giorno, where again, that was a matchup I was extremely excited for, this is the 200th episode. That alone already feels really special to me. And of course, to any other Death Battle fan, even the crew itself making this stuff. And honestly, I think I'll just end my review plus question here, because I don't really exactly know what else to say. So with all that said and done, I'll see y'all later next time, and that'll be all for now.